I will move on to approval of the minutes of the previous meeting. I'll assume everybody has read them. If anybody has any comments, happy to accept them. Otherwise, I need a mover and a seconder. Moved by Gary, seconded by Kathleen. All in favor? I will move on. Thank you very much. The minutes of the there are no communications, no delegations, and no consent items. Before we start the reports of business, I have to leave at 7, so I'm hoping we can finish by then. A couple of reminders: all of these reports, except for a few, have already gone to committee. They've already been presented. So if staff wishes to speak to any of them, I'll give them the opportunity. But a short summary rather than anything lengthy would be appreciated, because again, I'm going to assume that obviously committee members have seen it twice, and others will have read and will have comments ready for anything that is of interest. So we'll start with staff report 2026-21, which is the CAO report. I'm assuming this is for information purposes only. Am I right? Melissa is nodding. Can I get a mover and seconder for that report? Moved by Gary, seconded by Kathleen. I'll turn things over to Paul to provide us with the highlights of his report. I'm assuming this is
And thank you. And through the chair, again, I will assume that you've read the report. So just a quick highlight. We are out for an RFP for a strategic plan. It expires at the end of next year, and we need to present that along and prepare that in time for our submission for the multi-year budget for the city. So that RFP is public and it closes September 14th. We intend to award that early in Q4 this year, so we can start that process. And we need to contained in the report is an update on the McNay elevator service disruption, identifying the root cause. And there was some media coverage on that, but more importantly, significant disruption for about 6 weeks for tenants as we waited for parts to come in. The whole work to modernize the elevator systems at LMCH will address the long lead time we're having on parts that's happening right now because of just the age of the equipment. So there are some meetings that will happen with our vendor to help us identify other steps we can take, specifically at our senior sites, to change the timing of doors and things like that that may reduce some of these service disruptions. I think just the other thing, there are some at today's meeting, we will be reviewing and requesting approval for the a policy on LMCHE devices. This is critically important to us in the sector, and you sort of see that in the news with significant fires occurring in the city of Toronto and some fires at LMCH linked to lithium-ion batteries. So this is our first effort to start to put a framework on what tenants are allowed and not allowed to do. It's important that we continue to monitor that moving forward, but just there is some interesting conversations taking place in other jurisdictions that we just want to pay attention to about how do we manage this risk, because I think as these devices become more popular, as they age, as the secondary part market affects them, there is increasing risk to LMCH for these types of fires, and they are quite intense. So we have our first policy, and I just encourage questions when we discuss that, and encourage board members to sort of learn a little bit more of that or pay attention to that conversation, because I think it will impact us over the next few years. With that, happy to take questions. We have our first policy, and I just encourage
any questions or comments about that report?
Discuss that and encourage board members to sort of
being none, it's on the floor.
Sorry,
go ahead, Margaret.
Conversations. I think it will impact us
Sorry,
over the next few years. With that,
Bill,
happy to
and
take
to
questions.
Paul, I was looking for all your talk, so I may have missed it.
Questions?
Did you broach the subject of the strategic plan, or is that I had one question, or is that in a forthcoming report?
Sorry, go ahead, Margaret.
That was, yes, I briefly touched it. The RFP is live on the business planner website and closes September 14th.
Okay, Chair, I just have one question. It's more of a function question, not knowing the workings of the City of London. I did note that you're partnering or consulting with City of London staff.
the business
I
center
just,
website and closes October.
curious if that's normal within the city of London. Let's pick another board if the LTC would have, consulted with or partnered with the city of London staff. It just jumped out at me, Paul, that, we're an independent board, but we seem to be partnering. I don't know the extent of the partnership. Could you just walk me down that a little bit?
Yeah, so one of the things that we need to continue to do as LMCH is continue our conversations with others and those that we need to partner with us and we want their partnership, and those that have some sort of oversight over the work we do. So there'll be, with the City of London staff and Middlesex County staff, there are folks that manage the housing sector work, and we want to make sure we're aligned with the direction they're going. We know of any opportunities that we should consider in our planning. So if the City of London is going to start focusing on certain things in the housing area, we want to make sure that we factor those considerations in our planning. So it's really just a matter of having conversations with our key stakeholders and making sure that we understand the environment we're operating in, how it might change from other people's perspectives, to see if we can get their support or if we can support them in accomplishing a shared goal. So it's really making sure that conversation takes place. We did that through the last strategic plan. We did that through the master regeneration plan. So it is a common thing for us because we need to make sure that the work we do is aligned with others.
Okay, I accept that, Chair.
So
Thanks.
it's really making sure that
Thank you.
conversation takes place.
Any other questions about the CEO
The
report?
last strategic plan, we did that.
There
through
being
the
none, then it's
master
on the floor.
regeneration
All those in
plan.
favor of
So it
receiving
is a
that?
common thing for
Again,
us
that's just a
because we need
report
to
for
make sure
receipt.
that the work
Next
we do
report
is
is
aligned
staff
with others.
report 2026-22, which is the board expense policy. It doesn't say, but am I to assume this is for approval? There being none, then it's on the floor. Okay.
Yes.
Something you wish to add, Paul, or is the report speak for itself?
Through the chair, the report itself is self-explanatory. It is the annual review of the board expense policy, just to confirm that we're aligned with the sector and that we're covering expenses that we should be. And there is no changes year over year of significance, and we are still aligned with the City of London expense policy for employees. So everything there is there's no new considerations in this. It's really a renewal, and you'll see this year over year.
Thank you. So I need a mover and seconder.
Still aligned with the City of London.
Moved by the deputy mayor, seconded by Gary. Questions, comments about that?
There's no new.
All right, it's on the floor. All those in favor?
It's really a renewal, and you'll see this.
That matter is passed. The next is staff report 2026-23, which is director from the director asset renewal Q2 2026 report. Mr. Krill, anything you want to point out in addition to what's in the report?
Yes, thank you. And through the chair, there's this report with two approval recommendations. The first approval is to officially approve the construction of phase 3 of Reimagine Southdale. Just activities that have occurred leading up to this point. Site plan approval in progress. As a matter of fact, 2 weeks. Within the last 2 weeks, we submitted all the site plan approval documentation to the city. So there's a recommendation to officially approve the construction of phase 3 from this board. And secondly, there's a recommendation to approve a minimum of $10 million to be drawn from the $32.5 million set aside in the regeneration fund approved as part of business case P21. These two approvals are detailed more succinctly or in more detail on page 3 of the report for Reimagine Southdale 3. And it's tied to the $29 million CMHC loan, which was approved and which was reported upon in the last FAR report report to the board. That $29 million loan will be used to offset phase 3 construction. What does that mean? The $29 million loan from CMHC was granted for phase 1 and phase 2 construction. Both phase 1 and phase 2 construction proceeded on the regeneration funding, $62 million that was approved in business case or provided funding provided by business case 18 and business case P21. So every dollar from that $29 million CMHC loan advance, every dollar that was advanced will go into the regeneration funding that was drawn previously, and that funding will then go forward to phase 3 construction. So they'll offset each other. The $10 million approval from those business cases is necessary because we've applied to Build Canada Homes for $15 million, $15.843 million in Build Canada Homes funding. They require, as part of that application, they require a proof of funding commitment from the board, and that's where that $10 million comes from. That is the main focus of this report. This is a standard report that's seen previously, and I'm assuming as well that everybody's read it. There's one additional section in it that has been part of the report previously, and that's a procurement details. There's some recent activity that we've taken where procurement is concerned as a result of hiring a new procurement officer. We've got some RFPs out there that we're going to be able to deliver upon. There is some slight risk of 2 RFPs, the life safety fire alarm RFP and the mechanical HVAC preventive maintenance RFP. There's some risk of not meeting the target that's outlined in that section. And that has to do with resourcing additional procurement officers in the procurement department. I just wanted to highlight that. And that's everything for that report that I think that's worth.
Thank you.
Not meeting the target.
Thank you. Can I get a mover and seconder for the report, please? Moved by Gary, seconded by Kathleen. Questions or comments on that report? Is that a report for information, I assume? Mr. Krill?
Well, yes, for information and the 2 approval recommendations.
Yeah, but information and the 2 approvals. Thank you very much. Just so the board knows what we're voting on. Any questions or comments on that? Mr. Krill? Can I ask one question? I would just want to put this in terms that I understand well. So am I right now that we have enough capital funding to complete phase 3? Am I right about that? Any questions or comments? And are we out of all this capital funding and the build money you've been talking about? How much money is going to be left over to say pursue redevelopment of Ladybrook? Capital funding.
So right now the Build Canada Homes funding hasn't been secured. We've just applied for it.
I understand
Yeah, phase 1, phase 2, and phase 3. Roughly between the 3 of them, it's better to look at it this way. There's $62 million from the original regeneration fund, the 2 business cases, and then $29 million from CMHC. So that's just a little over $90 million that's been secured. Phase 1, phase 2, both coming in combined somewhere about $4 million below budget, $5 million below budget. We expect the same thing for phase 3. So of that total funding, I expect there's probably in the range of $10 to $12 million of additional regeneration funding.
And so that doesn't include the possibility, I guess, of getting the $15 million Build Canada money?
Correct. That's not included in that. That's correct. So with that additional, probably about $30 million.
All right. And so I would suggest that's really good news, and that we're sort of a little bit ahead of the game on our capital funding to continue on with our regeneration plan, in that phase 1, 2, 3 are fully funded, and looks like we have a fair amount of money to proceed with whatever our next project might be. Am I sort of right about that?
That would be correct, yes.
Great. So thank you very much for that. I think that's fantastic. I think that's really really good news, and it's a credit to the staff, and it's in the work you've done and the work the board's done in securing money. I also think it's important that we're getting Build Canada money, since that's a question that's been asked in the past. So if we do get it, that will be very good. So thanks very much for that report. Anything else? All right. All those in favor of there'll be two approvals there and information. Thank you very much. So we're going to go on to the next report, which is 2026-24, which is capital unit turns. Mr. Crow, you again.
Thank you. And through the chair, this report to receive and for approval, the expenditure of up to $791,000 from the 2026 capital project titled Kitchen Reno or Backyard Beautification Program. That particular budget for $791,000 was part of the 2026 approved budget. There's been a need for the capital group to support operations in doing unit turns. The unit turns that have been, let's call it, assigned to the capital team is 56, actually 64 unit turns. Because of that increased amount of unit turns, there's on page 3 of this report, there's about $740,000 that's outlined in typical annual unit turns dollars that's required by operations to do unit turns. Half of that has been used at this point of the year, and with the additional unit turns that capital needs to complete, the remaining half isn't enough to complete all the unit turns. So there's $791,000 in that kitchen reno or backyard beautification budget. And if you recall, at the time the budget was approved, we indicated that we would come back to the board and make a recommendation to do either kitchen renos or backyard beautification. It seems that this is ideally suited to set aside for the additional capital unit turns that are being completed. And so the approval request or recommendation is for that entire $791,000 to be used for the 64 some unit turns that capital is doing. That will come out to about $13,000 a unit turn for all 64. And right now, capital is doing unit turns at about that rate as well. So those are sufficient funds.
Thank you very much. Mover, seconder for that report, please. Moved by Kathleen, seconded by Kara. Questions or comments about that report? There being none, all those in favor? That matter is passed. Next is the commissioner's boiler replacement. Mr. Krill, that's a subject I think we were all with bated breath awaiting. So go ahead.
Thank you, through the chair. This report is very simply to increase the commissioner boiler replacement project budget from $350,000 to $500,000 by taking $150,000 from general contingency. The context is that original $350,000 budget was put together with the plan to replace 2 boilers in that building. That building originally, as designed, had 4 boilers in it. 2 boilers were inoperable for a significant number of years. So we believe that all we need to do is replace 2 of those boilers. The other boilers that were inoperable were being cannibalized by the other boilers as they broke down. Upon getting into this project, it was clear that because of the complexity of the design and to ensure the efficient operation of the system, that all 4 boilers should be replaced. It's not a straight then 350 times 2, give me 700,000. It really just requires $150,000 for a budget of 500,000 to replace all the boilers and bring that building up to the efficient operation it was originally intended to.
All right, thank you very much. Then can I get a mover and seconder for that? Moved by Kathleen, seconded by Hadley. Questions or comments on that report, Mayor Grantham?
I apologize, Chair. This might be for Paul. That contingency fund, I assume it's some kind of reserve. How much money is there enough money in that if something else were to happen? Do we needed a contingency fund?
Yep. Thank you. Through the chair, I can answer that. The contingency fund that we have ebbs and flows. Each quarter's FAR report and report to the board usually results in depositing funds into that contingency funds from projects that have closed below budget. And then we look for reallocations to other projects that need those funds. So a short answer is yes, there's enough funds in the contingency funds and probably enough to meet any future needs as well.
Okay, thank you, John.
Any other questions or comments? All right, the matter's been, I believe it's been moved and seconded. All those in favor? That matter is passed. And the final report is staff report 2026-26, which is quarter two capital projects report. Mr. Krill, any comments?
Yes, thank you. And through the chair, this is again the standard capital projects quarterly update. So some of these approval recommendations are the standard ones you've seen each quarter. The first approval recommendation is for a net reallocation of $119,000 from 5 projects that closed below budget in the quarter. Reallocation of those dollars to contingency. That basically speaks to Mayor Grantham's question. And the second and third approvals are tied together. They are to do with COCHE funding that was received, new COCHE funding in the range of, it's about $900,000. We're still working with city staff to nail down the $900,000. Is it $901 or $899? Something in that range. The COCHE funding that we receive requires projects that those funds are used for. Those funds to be completed in the year that they were granted. In this particular case, there's 2 projects at Limberlost. One is the fencing project, which was approved by the board previously, and another one is the pavement pathways hard surface restoration project that was also approved as part of previous budgeting. The total dollars of those projects together total up to about $900,000. So the approval is to allow reallocation of COCHE funding to those projects and put those funds that were originally budgeted for those projects back into general contingency, and we'll find some other uses for those dollars in the subsequent FAR reports. I might also add that this approval is tied to increasing the budget for the Limberlost pedestrian paving project. It was originally budgeted at about $337,000, and we need about $300,000 more for that project. The low bidder that was awarded that project was below budget and reneged, backed out. This was reported upon previously. We leveraged the bid bond for $25,000. So that's the good news. But then we had to go to the next highest bidders, and those next highest bidders put us in that $637,000 range, hence the need to increase the budget. Those are those 2 approvals. The fourth approval then is for cancellation of a project that was budgeted in 2021 for $30,000. Put those dollars to contingency. There's no leaking, no work orders, no requirement to replace that horizontal plumbing. So hence the cancellation. And the last recommendation is the reallocation of $1.4 million that was budgeted for plumbing risers at 3 sites: Simcoe, 345 Warrencliffe, and Kent, to reallocate those funds to 3 additional sites: Simcoe, 349 Warrencliffe, McNay, and Baseline. Our intention is to not replace riser valves, but rather, not replace plumbing risers at those sites, but basically replace all the riser valves at each site. It's much less expensive and accomplishes the same goal of not disrupting tenants whenever plumbing risers leak. So hence that reallocation, that 1.4 million split 6 ways, and then we'll do all the riser valves at those sites. And that should be enough dollars to accomplish that goal.
Thank you. Mover and seconder for that report, please. Moved by Kathleen, seconded by Mayor Grantham. Questions, comments about that report, please? All right, there being none, all those in favor? That matters passed. So that completes the FAR reports, which had approvals. Sorry, did somebody? No. That had approvals in them. The next package of reports are just reports for information. So we will put those 5 reports together in one package. This is normally the time when the chair of the committee would provide a little update on that. I was not aware, although he did apparently contact us, that the chair was not going to be here tonight. So there won't be a summary. So you're going to have to rely on yourselves to ask any relevant questions that you might have about those particular reports. So before we do that, mover seconder for the package of reports in the agenda, G1 to 5. Moved by Sarah, seconded by Gary. Questions or comments about those? And again, those are just reports for information purposes. There being none, then all those in favor? Those are passed. So the next package of reports are those from the PUSH committee that have approvals in them. So they are H through L. Again, staff brief updates since they were already presented at committee. So we'll go to staff report H, which is staff report 206-26-27, which is the LMCH tuition reimbursement policy. Dirk?
Thank you, through the chair. So very shortly in summary, LMCH has historically in an informal manner provided tuition reimbursement for employees who are pursuing their own individual self-directed professional development and learning. This is something that we have identified as an initiative that we want to put forward in a more formal and structured manner, mainly to drive engagement within the organization and invest in our employees, but also to ensure that access to those types of funds as an employment benefit is done in a structured and equitable manner. So the policy that's brought forward for approval is to support the formal structured approach for a tuition reimbursement program and policy for all LMCH staff going forward. Happy to answer any questions.
Thank you. Mover and seconder for that report. Moved by Hadley, seconded by Mayor Grantham. Questions or comments? This report, and just these reports were all approved at committee. All right. Question, Hadley. Go ahead.
Yeah. I was just wondering, through the chair, was this something in terms of feedback you got from staff that they were looking for? More options? Do they want it changed anyway, or is it just to formalize the credential?
Broader, bigger picture. Our healthy organization and strategic initiative for the last years have been focused quite a lot on employee health, so health and safety. The board and the committee would have received numerous reports and the initiatives we've done to ensure that our staff are doing works safely and successfully. I think as we evolve that program, we've identified that we need to also focus on employee happiness and engagement. So, you're either earning or learning, and we feel that we have the funds that have been provided through the Healthy Organization Strategic Initiative, which in the previous 2 years, we heavily invested in occupational health and safety training. So you would recall from previous reports, we launched and have now completed nonviolent crisis intervention training through internal trainers. We've done tons of compliance training. So these funds are still available, and now we're looking to direct it towards something that it moves beyond just healthy, but also happy. Very informal, kind of what we're looking for. This is part of what we're trying to do. It's something that has informally been available. So we've just identified that going out, making the commitment, making it available to all staff would serve as an engagement tool, and engaged individuals who are learning, they're retained, and that's ultimately what we're hoping we will achieve. So yes, it is broadly aligned. And some employees have been utilizing it, and I believe a lot are unaware of the option. So we hope that by formally communicating it, more individuals are made aware and attracted to the program, and we have that engagement and from our staff in that way.
Great, thank you.
Thank you. Anything further? Questions or comments? It's on the floor. All those in favor? That matter is passed. Next is staff report 2026-28, which is staff property damage and reimbursement policy. Dirk, you are up again.
Thank you again through the chair. So LMCH employees are required as a condition of their employment to have access to a personal vehicle and appropriate insurance for business-related travel. We are a multi-site property, and quite a few of our employee designations move and travel between sites using their personal vehicles. On rare occasions, I would say 2 in the last few years that I've been here, employees would experience property damages occurring to their personal vehicles through no fault of their own. So, individuals identify, have a gripe with the landlord. The staff member has a relationship with individuals at the property, and therefore they're identifiable. We're hoping that this policy will provide a structured and fair approach for us to reimburse employees in those situations. It is our belief that the program costs, just based off past experiences, as well as the work that we've done to ensure that the policy is tight and the program is specific, the cost will be reasonable. And we believe that even though it doesn't happen a lot, having something like this to support an individual employee goes through that will be, again, sending the right message in terms of how we value them. And again, similarly to what I said a little bit earlier through the chair, we're trying to move beyond just healthy, but also happy. And I think communicating this to employees is an important step. And we want to emphasize that although this is a new liability that we're formally communicating, we feel that the frequency as well as the structure of the policy, it would be sufficient, that the cost we expect it to be modest.
Thank you very much. I need a mover and seconder, and I see there is a question already. Moved by Gary, seconded by Kathleen. So, Mayor Grantham, you had a question.
Well, Chair, I can save this one in. I wanted to comment on one of the earlier reports. When you're done this, I just want to make a real brief comment on an earlier report. I apologize, Chair, I missed my note. So when you get done this, I'd like to just make a comment.
That's fine. It often, with older people, this sometimes happens. Mayor Grantham. Sorry, I couldn't help myself. It was sitting right there for me. I had to use it. You know that. Questions about this report? Gary.
More of a comment through the chair. I 100% support anything like I'll be very honest. I don't think that employees should even have to use their own vehicles. But I understand we're past that as far as it's a condition of their employment. So definitely any property damage that they incur while at these sites is absolutely appropriate. So thanks for doing that. Thanks for at least recognizing that for our employees.
Thank you, Gary. Through the chair, I just want to say I'm administering it, but this is driven by Sarah, this hero. So
there you go. Shout out to Sarah. Anything further on that report? All right, all those in favor? That's passed. Mayor Grantham, after insulting you, I'll let you speak. And if you want to take a shot at me, go ahead.
No, I just am dusting off my integrity commissioner reports. So no, I want to back. This is important. I mentioned this because it was something that I brought up, Chair, and that was the community safety report. And I did have it highlighted. I want to comment on the comments regarding the review of the use of force policy. That's something that I brought up on a couple occasions. Others on the board may not be aware of the comments that staff are reviewing the use of force policy. And I believe Gary had some inputs. I just want to recognize that, Chair, that I'd ask questions about it and something was happening. So I appreciate the efforts of staff on that.
Thank you. And I think one of the other things, because I remember it from the committee, was that there's already a policy in place that our staff who aren't involved in enforcement have been given direction not to get themselves involved in situations, which I think is I thought was a really good idea, that our staff who's otherwise employed in a building who aren't trained to deal with difficult situations aren't sort of required to throw themselves in. So thanks for that. I think we've approved the previous report. So we'll go to the market rent increase and maximum rent increase. There's 2 reports. Can we do those together, Sarah? Does that make sense?
Probably doesn't, but I'll be quick. I'll be efficient through the chair.
It doesn't make sense?
Well, they're 2 separate approvals.
Okay, that's fine.
So
Yeah, no, I didn't know if they were similar. So we'll do
Yeah,
staff
okay.
report 2026-29, which is the 2027 market rent increase report. Go
Through the chair and on behalf of Alyssa, this report updates the board on the province of Ontario's guidelines for 2027 rent increase. And it recommends a 1.9% increase on market rents for 2027. We did this as well around this time last year with a different rate. The recommendation aims to balance fiscal responsibility with fairness and tenant protection, impacting only those tenants currently paying market rent. Looking for your approval.
Thank you very much. Can I get a mover and seconder for that? Moved by Hadley, seconded by the deputy mayor. Any questions or comments on that report? There being none, it's on the floor. All those in favor? That matter is passed. And the next report is 2026-30, which is the maximum rent increase for 2027 report. Sarah again.
Through the chair and on behalf of Alyssa, this report recommends realigning the maximum rent schedule for all existing RGI units to match the current market rent schedule effective January 1st. We're looking to make it effective January 1st, 2027. We are still under some legal review, but the change will not increase the rent payable by current RGI households, but it will ensure consistency and improve the accuracy of financial reporting by recognizing the full value of rent subsidy. The report explains that this realignment preserves the integrity of the RGI program and includes a comparison chart, which you'll see there. I will not go through it. And current maximum rents are, and we are requesting your approval.
Thank you very much. Can I get a mover and a seconder, please? Moved by Kathleen, seconded by Sarah. Questions or comments? There being none, it's on the floor. All in favor? That matter is passed. So the final report is the one that was mentioned earlier by Paul. That is the e-mobility policy. And here, this is the actual policy. So Sarah, I'll turn things over to you again.
And through the chair, the report does introduce and seeks approval for our first e-mobility device policy here at LMCH. This policy establishes clear rules for the use, storage, charging, and disposal of e-bikes, e-scooters, and other electric mobility devices on our property. Its main goals are to support safe and lawful use of compliant devices, reduce fire and safety risks associated with the batteries that Paul mentioned earlier, and ensure accessibility and mobility choice for tenants at the same time. The policy permits only compliant e-bikes and e-scooters, and while prohibiting higher risk devices such as hoverboards, modified batteries, again, other things that Paul mentioned, and aftermarket parts. It sets out charging and storage requirements, prohibits use and storage in common areas. The policy emphasizes education and progressive compliance with immediate action for urgent safety risks for some of the reasons that Paul mentioned earlier. There is no immediate financial impact, but we will need some communication training and monitoring internally to align, and we're anxious to do so, given all of the risks and factors we've heard primarily also in the media and what we've known to happen at other sites. And we are seeking your approval for the e-mobility device policy.
Thank you very much. Mover and seconder, please. Moved by Kara, seconded by the deputy mayor. Questions or comments, please? Kathleen?
Hi, thank you through the chair. I am just wondering about the owner's responsibility for these devices. If their insurance, their tenant package insurance might cover some liability should there be an unfortunate fire of any kind as a result of them using one of these devices.
If they are insured, but I imagine insurers are figuring this out too. My gut tells me insurers are also figuring this out too. In which case, if it is the appropriate battery for the appropriate device and it's accidental, I imagine that stars would align. I wonder if that isn't the scenario of where that falls within insurance and how it's approached.
Right. Okay.
I just wonder. I don't know if we should. Yeah.
So I think, sorry, if I just
Yeah.
through the
ahead.
chair. The answer, the simple answer is yes. If a tenant has tenant insurance at this time, it's covered. Sarah is sort of thinking forward. as insurance becomes more complicated, there may be specific riders required and things like that. So right now it's covered if the tenants have insurance, and
Yes.
there is no exclusions or requirements for our provider to do anything specific about e-bikes and lithium batteries. However, it is part of the conversation on insurance and risk management we're having with our insurance company. So I think that conversation is going to evolve
Okay,
as this situation moves forward. So
Yeah.
we need to be able to evolve with it.
thank you.
Thank you. Anything further on this report? All right, it's on the floor. All those in favor? Thank you very much. We're now going to go to the push reports for information. And Mayor Grantham, you're chair of the committee during that meeting. Is there any summary you'd like to provide before we get these reports on the floor?
No, I think they're all pretty self-explanatory, Chair.
And in case people don't know, part of what the committee did last time was that Mayor Grantham is stepping down as chair of the committee, and Kara is stepping up to be the chair of the committee. I want to thank Mayor Grantham for very much. I asked him if he would step in and do that, and he generously did. Obviously, it wasn't something, given his time constraints, that he necessarily would have done. But I think on behalf of the board, I do want to thank you for doing that during the time period that you did. So that being said, I'll ask you, Mayor Grantham, as your last duty to move this report,
Uh,
these reports, this package of reports.
yeah, just someone to bring a motion to bring these reports as a package.
Thank you
Sorry,
very much. A seconder, please. Kathleen, any questions or comments about that package of reports, which is 1 through 6? I can't see anybody unless I'm missing anyone. All right, all those in favor? Thank you very much.
Chair, I've never heard a coup d'etat referred to as stepping down.
Mayor Grantham was gracious enough to do that for an extended period of time, but right now I would imagine he's very busy. So thank you very much. All joking aside, I appreciated that you stepped up and did that, and that I appreciate very much, Kara, that you've now stepped up in his place, and you'll get all the support you need, I know, from Sarah and Paul in carrying out those duties. So thank you. So next matter is an in-camera matter. So I need a motion to move in camera. Moved by Kathleen, seconded by Kara. All those in favor? We are now in camera. Back in public session. In terms of new business, I did want to, on behalf of the board, just Melissa is here. I think it's important that as a board, we recognize the support that we've received from Melissa, certainly over the period that I have been here. Anytime I asked for anything at all in any particular area, I received it in a very prompt and friendly fashion anytime I needed anything. On top of that, I certainly noticed when I was here that some of the things amongst staff, celebrating people's birthdays and decorating their office, that Melissa, when I always would ask people, who does this? And it was often Melissa. Melissa does it. Melissa does it. So if I was thinking just about myself, which I often do, I wouldn't be happy about Melissa leaving by any means because she's part of the family. But you know what? Good luck to you, Melissa. Onward and upwards, and we wish you nothing, absolutely nothing, but the best. So somebody's actually gone out and got you some flowers. So I don't know if Paul wanted to say something also, but I'm certainly glad.
Right. So on behalf of leadership, the board, and everybody at LMCH, thank you for everything, for recognizing 4+ years of service. So we will survive, but we will not do it willingly. So thank you so much for everything you've done. We appreciate you.
Would someone like to bring a motion to make her stay? I mean, we could, would it work, Paul? Or do we have legal counsel here? I don't think it would be enforceable, I guess.
I'll put a number on a sticky note.
Melissa, anything you want to say, you don't have to, but you're so appreciated by us. It is what it is. So.
Well, thank you guys. I will say this is the first board I ever worked with, and it was a crash course in boards. This is going to be like a millennial reference. So they're always like, if you go into an industry and you go like the America's Next Top Model version, where like they threw everything at you and it was crazy and you learned everything. And wherever you go next, you will be well equipped. I think. You all really helped me with that, and all the board members that I think kind of came before that. It's nice to see the board in a really stable place. I will say every year, I think Brian and I celebrate a little bit when it's like, we don't have to do orientation. So that's been really great. It's a great group that you guys have here. So I'm excited to kind of follow and see what's next. And maybe we will cross paths again. I am headed to London Community Foundation, taking on the role as the manager of strategy and donor engagement. So I'm excited, looking forward to that. Really taking kind of everything I've learned here and with the tenants and really like London, and being able to kind of take that and make some really great change and all of that. So I'm excited, bittersweet. I'm excited. I will miss point of order. I will miss Phil.
Oh, thank you. That made my day.
Kara and Kathleen, it's been really great to see you guys kind of like grow and have your voice and find your voice at the table. Sarah, it was really nice having you as the addition and asking those questions. So that's been great. And Sean and Hadley, I wish you guys all the best. And hopefully you're here again in November. I don't know. Are we in camera or not? Sorry.
No, we're not. You can say that. I certainly never could.
Sorry. And Mayor Grantham, I will say, I love when you really get that spark, when something gets you, piques your interest. Yes, it's great to see that passion. That's the word. So yes, I'm sad to be leaving, but excited for my next chapter. So thank you guys.
Oh, that's an exciting future. That's a very interesting job, and one that you match well to. So you'll do great, I'm sure. And if not, just knock on our door. If you get tired, if you really don't like it, you knock on the door.
Noted. It's real recording.
So is there anything before we end on quite a nice meeting tonight? Everybody seems to be enjoying their summer and are in a good mood. I just want to thank the politicians who are out knocking on doors. There's 3 of them here. I would say the same to any of you. I've done it. It is not easy. You're putting yourself out there. So thank you very much for doing that on behalf of people. It's important. Many talk about doing it. few do it. So thank you very much for doing that. Anybody have anything else before we adjourn? Nope. Somebody wish to move adjournment? Moved by Kathleen, seconded by who seconded? Sorry, Kara.
Sarah.
All in favor? We are adjourned. Colin, I owe you a phone call, I know.